from Susan Maneck. 2. Baha'i World Center. Date sent, Wednesday, the 30th of December 1998. Dear Universal House of Justice, I am writing this letter in regards to a matter which has been troubling me and a number of other Baha'i scholars, both academics and amateurs. A lot of confusion currently exists surrounding the policies regarding access to sources at the World Center and regarding the publication of primary source material, memoirs, etc., available through other avenues. In your letter to me dated February 8, 1998, you stated in no uncertain terms, the purpose of scholarship in such fields should obviously be the ascertainment of truth, and Baha'i scholars should, of course, observe the highest standards of honesty, integrity and truthfulness. A good portion of that letter was devoted to expounding on the principle of independent investigation of truth as it relates to Baha'i scholarship. I also note that a letter written on behalf of the House of Justice dated July 18, 1979 stated the fact that the faith, as the guardian state, enjoins upon its followers the primary duty of an unfettered search after truth. Should reassure any aspiring Baha'i historian that there can be no question of any requirement to distort history in the so-called interests of the faith. I am having some difficulties reconciling the current policies regarding access and publication of primary source documents with the principles outlined above. I am aware of the October 5, 1993 letter written on behalf of the Universal House of Justice where it is stated that at present scholars have been frequently denied access to sources because of inadequate resources to accommodate them. Yet, the recent correspondence between Dr. and you regarding the memoirs of Bahá'í, his earlier correspondence regarding the memoirs of Aka Hussein Ashji, and the actions taken by the Universal House of Justice some years ago in regards to the memoirs of Ustad Salmani suggests that there are a number of other issues at stake here as well. I wonder if I could ask the House of Justice to clarify these. The circumstances involving elimination of certain passages of Salmani's memoirs is, of course, well known by now and I need not go over those. In the case of the Aski's narrative, Dr. possessed the manuscript in question and sought from the World Center permission to proceed with the work of translation and publication. The Secretariat informed him however that the World Center itself would take steps towards the publication of such writings in due time. In the meantime it felt that the select portions of Aski's memoirs available through Mr. Baliou's secondary account should be sufficient. In regards to his request for the memoirs of Bahá'í, Dr. was initially told that these memoirs were unavailable due to considerations of family confidentiality. When he assured the World Center that he had the full support and cooperation of the principal family members involved, he was told that because of Bahá'í's high station in the faith these memoirs would not be available until the House of Justice was able to familiarize itself with the nature and content of this material. Some of the policies of the House of Justice, such as those involving the protection of privacy, are quite understandable. Others, such as the bearing of an author's station on accessibility of sources, I find quite confusing. In fact, they are deeply troubling because they leave the unfortunate impression that the World Center wishes to sanitize this material before it is made accessible to the public. This has disturbing implications, as it calls into question our dedication as a community to the principle of the independent investigation of truth. My question is this: how can we with integrity uphold the principle of the independent investigation of the truth, both for Baha'is and non-Baha'is, if we exercise such tight control over access to truth, even in cases where the resources of the World Center need not be utilized? I understand the risks that open access to such materials can easily lead to misinformation, misunderstandings and even misrepresentation of the reality of the cause. However, I would think such a danger will always be a necessary corollary to any serious commitment to independent investigation. I know also that the House of Justice considers issues of wisdom and timeliness in deciding what materials to release. But here again I am having trouble understanding the compatibility of those principles with that of the unfettered search for truth. Or does wisdom override this principle? I hope that the Universal House of Justice will consider this question in the spirit in which it is asked and offer us guidance which can give scholars and academics the assurance they require regarding these matters at a time when the community is coming under increasing criticism and challenges to its integrity, and when the bulk of materials available on the Baha'i faith is being sought, not through official Baha'i channels, but on the internet, often from those antagonistic towards the Baha'i institutions. I would ask that you remember the Baha'i scholars and academics in your prayers. With loving Baha'i greetings. Susan Maneck.